Hey guys, Danny Johnson here. We went to a really nice car show out at the Sand Hollow Resort. I had my Screaming Yellow Cobra, and our friend Kurt had his Sonic Blue Cobra. Justin SVT also came, which was really helpful to help me with everything with the show involved. So we'll just show you some of the footage from that. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. I'd spent some time under the hood detailing the Cobra. There's always more that you can do, but it was good and clean. I also put some tire shine on the tires. I really don't do that too much. It was good to be here with Kurt. He actually invited me to attend with him. And if you haven't seen his car, check the video description. I have some walk around videos. And also, he spends a lot of time at Willow Springs where he actively races it around the track. And so we have a video we put together where we towed it down there and we were kind of his pit crew. And so it was really cool. Kurt has a lot of experience as a Ford technician, bought his car new. Anyway, I had all the supplies that I would think I needed. I had the Mach 1000 audio system that did not come in the Cobra or the Mach 1. If you want more information on that, you can check the video description too. But overall, this was such a beautiful morning. That hot air balloon, when you see those out, you know it's the perfect temperature. People are up in the hot air balloons for that. And look at these beautiful red cliffs over this golf course. This area is so beautiful. And of course, you'd have to pay a lot of money to go on the golf course. So this is a nice opportunity to pay the $37 or so and, have a chance to be here all day long. So it's actually a pretty good deal even for that aspect. Here's inside my car. I have my Aeroforce interceptor gauge, my fuel pressure gauge, and then my wideband there. And that's pretty much all that I really have going on there. Stock interior other than the painted screaming yellow door cups. And the temperature outside was a little bit on the cool side, so we're just waiting for it to warm up a little bit. And as the sun comes up, it was just really nice to see the colors on the cars change with the sunrise. And of course, Kurt's beautiful Sonic Blue Cobra with that diffuser that he used to make those and sell those. So that's pretty cool. And you can see all his stickers here on the side for the many years he's been part of the club. So his car is very clean. It's pretty similar to mine. They're both in the 40,000 mile range, I do believe. And he's got a water temperature gauge and some other ones here. But it's always been a lot of fun to be around Kurt. Here's a few more pictures. I also decided to bring my little Mazio 118 yellow Cobra model. Those were really hard to find. Check this out. If you actually look closely, the hood latch was black on the 03s and silver on the 04s. This is a real AAR CUDA, so this is a 340 car, but very beautiful looking all around. So I've been watching Graveyard Cars and some of these other restoration ones, so it's actually really cool to go look at this. And I didn't have a lot of time because I was over by my car most of the time, but it was good to go get some video of this. And now as I watch more episodes on TV, I can kind of refer back to this and you can really appreciate it after the fact. So there's so much going on at a car show. It's really hard sometimes to take it all in. So I like taking videos and pictures of the plates and everything like that. So this is all cool to see all this, and then I can later go back and research it and see all the cool options that the car had on its little VIN tag plate. I also really like seeing the cars from the same era as mine. So here's a GTO 6-liter, and these are really cool. It's the same as the 0304 Cobra time era. And something I'd pointed out earlier that somebody who owns one of these showed me is that the radio button as well as the e-brake are on the passenger side, because that's not something they changed when they brought this car to the U.S. and converted it to left-hand drive. So, I think it's the Holden is the same car over in Australia, and it's a right-hand drive car. And so that's something cool I always look at, is that little radio knob button to see that it's on actually the passenger side. So the gauges are also paint matched the same color as the car. I remember when the GTOs came out and I was in high school. This was really cool. Here's a screaming yellow Mustang GT, so it's the same color as my Cobra that they carried on into the next year. And he really liked how low mileage that this car was, and it was very well taken care of and really cool. It's a nice car to see as a 5-speed and just black interior. In a lot of ways it's similar to my Cobra, so I really liked this car. And of course, love the color. But that was cool to see a screaming yellow car. And the brand new GT500s, of course, they're really cool. And so it's fun to see them and all their options. This one was not the carbon fiber track pack, but it did have some of the other upgrades like the Recaro seats and some of the other things on there. And so some of the trophies that they were giving out later were pretty cool. They had made them out of pistons, so it was cool to see some of these designs. And of course, a lot of people who come to these like to put their cars for sale. It's a good way for them to sell it. That was, I think, a competition orange Mustang there. And here's a 289 older Mustang. Really cool to see these. A lot of them are very well done. Here's a Jaguar. Check out those spoked wheels. And just coming back to my car, they said that the show came with free continental breakfast for two. It ended up just being a donut and some hot chocolate. But we had a lot of fun just kind of hanging around the car. We had a lot of people come up that we could talk to. Kids came up and we showed them the model car. And it was just also a great time to sit with Kurt and talk. We're good friends, and this was a great time to catch up. I had my Nike finger traps that are really hard to find. These are eBay shoes that they stopped making about 10 years ago. So I had a nice pair of my new shoes on, a beautiful view here. As I just sat back, I had some snacks, some water, and some drinks as well. And so sitting back in a lawn chair and just talking cars is about as good as it gets in this weather. The sun was nice and warm on our back, even though it was cool. So here's a Nissan Fairlady Z. So these are the cool 300 ZXs. This one, I was amazed at the paint job. They look really good under the hood, how they have their intake manifold set up. They're always chromed out. A nightmare to do spark plugs or to service on. But anyway, I was looking at this. It was originally a red car, as you can see, but looking at this paint, I don't think it was a wrap. I'm not sure, but I assume it was paint, but it was pretty interestingly done. And just walking around for a brief minute and looking at all the cars. And of course, I just love seeing the new edges, and the two of us were the only ones there with a new edge Mustang. And so they are kind of harder to see at car shows. It'd be cool to do a Ford-only car show, so maybe sometime soon we'll do that. But this Camaro next to us was purchased, that he was the original owner, so that was really cool to see. And original owner on my right here with Kurt. And I bought my car from the original owner, so I'm the second owner of my Cobra. But it was also really cool to have Justin SVT there. I love how he can go and talk to people and answer their questions, because sometimes you're at a car show and you're talking to somebody and someone else walks up and you don't give them a lot of attention. So that's cool that we can divide and conquer. I thought this was a really cool Camaro. I really liked this body style when I was younger, and I want to say this was a 25th anniversary. And so it was really cool and very nice condition, very low mileage. I didn't get the exact mileage off it, but a very nice survivor car. Great example of these cars, especially I love the taillights on it and everything. I kept going back and looking at those. And some newer Mustangs, really nice cars here. And especially that Roush in the background was really cool. But a lot of nice people. And, 5-liter there for the GT. This Roush RS3 was a really nice car. We had a friend who had one when it was brand new. Same exact option, the black with the green. And it was always a really cool car. And he was up winning some races with it and doing some bracket racing. So we're looking at the supercharger on it. And, it's a very beautiful car here. He has a Coyote on there, right? Wile E. Coyote for the being the 5.0 Coyote. And a nice little plaque. So a lot of these I'll just take pictures of and then look through the pictures later and see all the details. But this one had the Roush trunk toolkit too that I'll show you in a minute. But this was a cool one as well, 6-speed. And, some of these Roush gauges and things, I remember when those came out and they go in the air conditioning vent. And so it was cool to see the trunk mount. So this is a toolkit that Roush makes. You can find them on eBay for like $500, but it's cool to see some Roush branded stuff. I'm sure it's all outsourced, but it was really cool to see these. And Justin SVT pointed out the coin as well. There's like a Roush coin on there. A pair of gloves, and, some little tools here that might help on the side of the road. But it was really cool to see
this little kit. And I've seen them before, but maybe not up this close and personal. And so we were looking at the Roush coin, and some of the ones I saw for sale on eBay are missing the Roush coin for some reason. And so they were really nice. They let us look at both sides of the coin. Here's this Z28 again. Just looking at this up close, as the original owner had this car since new. So it's really cool to see that, and that it's also in such great condition. So that's how I want to take care of my cars as well. And the orange was a very nice color. Fit right in next to my yellow. It's like when Justin SVT has his competition orange Cobra next to me. The powder coating on the cam covers was looking really good with the sun coming through. And so we were just enjoying ourselves and the beautiful weather. And this is also a charity event, so it was nice that it was doing that as well. And so as I was saying, I spent a lot of time detailing under the hood. Didn't take a lot, but I was just trying some different products and just cleaning up all the cam covers and just the grease and everything that accumulates on the bolts. Here's a little bit more of this 25th anniversary Camaro. Again, I really loved these taillights, probably because I like the amber taillights on the Cobra, but I just loved how clear these were, because even as I've seen cars like this, as I've grown up over the ages, the taillights are usually pretty dim by the time they've been faded. And so it was really cool to see it in pristine condition right off the floor. Like it was right off the showroom floor, the red accents on the wheels, and a lot to appreciate on these cars. And a lot of people just walk by all the cars there as quickly as possible just to kind of see everything. Even some of the older Pontiacs, it's cool because they're not around anymore, but I remember them as as I was younger. So another look here, these taillights. We also had my good friend Patrick who came. He just sold his mineral gray Terminator convertible, but he came in his GT350. We moved my car out of the way. He pulled it up behind me, and then we put my car back. So this was really nice, Chevelle. And we were looking over this one because we have a friend who has one that is not restored, and we've known it growing up the whole time. I'll put a video in here right as soon as we're done looking at this one, but you can really appreciate these older cars, especially some of them that have needed a lot of restoration work, a lot of rust repair. I don't know the full story on this one, but this one was beautiful. Looked really good and sounded really good, built engine and everything. And so here's my friend's dad's car. I want to say it's a 66. I know it's a 396 SS. Krager wheels. I mean, this is what we would see growing up all the time in the garage. As you can see, he wants to continue to restore it, but just has other projects going on right now. But it was really cool to see this car. Again, we stopped by and saw it, and, it's waiting for its time to be restored. And, we offered help to come get everything off the car and help him keep the engine, because it does run. So we said, we can get it started and just kind of move it around if you want. And so we offered, but he's just pretty busy with other construction projects, but good lifelong friend. We've known him for, over 20 years, I'm sure. And so it was really cool to see the other Chevelles. And, we talked to everybody about his, because this is an original SS 396. So pretty cool car for sure. But if you guys like Chevelles, and if put in the comments what you think about this one. I can't wait for the day that it finally is restored. Well, we don't know exactly when that'll be, but maybe someday. His son isn't too interested in cars, so we'll just have to see what happens. So anyway, back to the car show. It was just so much fun as we climbed up on the hill. We look at all the cars. To me, the yellow sticks out the most. You can't avoid it, and that's a perfect car thing for the car show. We were talking about tread wear on tires. The Mickey Thompson drag radials, as you can see, has a tread wear of 000. So we're showing people that. Kurt's car, I loved on his poster how he was showing it was like 5 or 6 mpg for racing, that detail. He has a switch for his intercooler pump. So this is cool. It's wired in so he can do a hot lap, pop the hood, flip the switch, and keep that intercooler pump running. So that's really cool that he mounted that. There's always really cool cars at the car show, like this other GT500. That was actually a carbon fiber track pack. And, some of the other more exotic cars like the Aston Martins and such, it's fun to see them and, get to look at all these cars that you don't really see every day driving around. This was a smaller V8 version, 4.3 liter, but still really cool cars. Next to these, let's see, over here we have a GT500, and look at the fenders on this one. Tell me what you see. This is, the Predator V8, everything here, but check out the fenders. This is a wide body. This couple has a wide body GT500 and a wide body GT350. So that's kind of their thing. So pretty interesting to see that. You definitely can tell that those fenders come out a lot wider than normal. I don't think that's my style. I think the car's fine how it is, but if that's something that they're interested in, and that's cool that they both have the cars like that. And so this one is even a turbocharged GT350. So very nicely done. Nice cars for sure. Very expensive cars for sure too. And the fun part about the car show, you get to see what everybody's passion is, things that they've kept stock, things that they've modified. One was this Dodge Challenger. This is a beautiful car. This actually won one of the trophies that day. And it definitely deserved it with all the work that went into it. A beautiful restoration. And in the end, does it matter if it wasn't an original 426 Hemi? To get one, you'd be spending several hundreds of thousands of dollars. And there's probably a lot of money into this where it's pretty close anyway. But it just goes to show, down the road when we see new Edge Mustangs that are V6s that people have cloned to be a Cobra or whatnot, they're still cool cars if they put a V8 in something that was a V6 and, whatever. But anyway, I enjoyed having my car all polished up. I got under there and polished that cat back, and I'll put a link in the description on how you can do that. If it's the right material, it has to be the right exhaust material. Justin SVT jumped in to help drive Patrick's car around. He drives that GT350 a lot. Patrick's really nice to let him drive it around. And so they spend a lot of time working on it and driving it. So he kind of valeted it for him to take it back out to the parking lot. And so it's pretty cool. And I spoke to some really cool people. One person had a green Hellcat. And so we had a lot of fun talking. And he talked about having to sell it. But as you look out through here, there is another green Mopar. And you can see the green on that Roush. And you can see the yellow. So I love the bright colors. I think a car show is just the perfect place to get things that catch your attention. And the other colors are very nice too. And it's just fun walking around and seeing what's under the hood on some of these. Here's a Camaro, and if you look at it, it actually has a positive displacement supercharger hanging out there. So it's really cool to talk to some of the people. You don't have time to talk to everybody for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but quick conversation here and there, or take some video like I'm doing here, and then taking a picture of their, as they call it, a boomer board. But I want one. I need to make one for my car. But it's really cool to hear the stories and the histories on some of these cars and compare one to another. It's cool to see multiple Camaros. I want to see more. I don't care if one's, completely mint condition. There's people who say, my car's not good enough for a car show. But honestly, it's cool to see them all in whatever condition they're at. It's also just cool to see, like, if you look at this one by the shifter, it has the gauges down there. And some of the newer Camaros, they were doing that again. And so it's cool to see the original and go, oh, I didn't even realize I had seen that before on the newer ones. And that's why they do that. Here's the winning car there. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. We had a great time, and there was a great turnout here. This is one of the best car shows because I just like how beautiful the scenery is. There's plenty of space for you to do everything. I mean, I've gone to Cars and Coffee and some other things like that, but I haven't really entered into a car show for quite some time. And this was the one that I wanted to do. This was the one I had my eye on. So when Kurt reached out and said, hey, let's bring both of our Cobras here, that's when I was like, oh, deal. I've been wanting to do this for a while. And they had the old schedule up from the year before, so I wasn't sure if they were doing it again. So I'm glad Kurt reached out and said, let's go do this together, because we had a great time. And, you know, it was a long day, but it was really cool to see all these cars and to be part of the show and to talk to people and everything like that.
Just absolutely perfect weather.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't get better than this.
Sounds so quiet next year.
Yeah.
What do you got on your stingers?
Yeah, boreless stingers and a off-road H. Thirsty.